bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Cuddy say can't hang.
Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right, would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama raised no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jeff.
You know what they say? See a broad to get that booty yak 'em? Leg her down or smack 'em, yak 'em.
He stays in my mind.
Oh, you gotta give him that.
He stays in my
Oh,
mind.
you gotta give him that huck.
Daddy, chill.
Calm the fuck down.
I played with it earlier this week when I was giving out the love.
Calm the fuck down.
Yo, 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 yo. Peace, power, prosperity to the gang. Villagers, what's happening? Hope all is well. This beautiful Friday, closing out this week. Hope all is well. Hope everybody's holding it down. Everybody had a productive week. Really looking forward to the weekend. The weekend is here. Enjoy the 2 days. If you're grounded through the weekend, bro, you get your off days during the week, such as life. You heard? Whenever you get your off days, bro, take a second and catch your breath. You hear me? I'm a hypocrite because I'm telling you to do shit I don't fucking do, right? Can't afford that luxury right now. Not right now, G. But one day I will. And when I can, I absolutely will. I will absolutely indulge in it. Yo! You got Diva with you tonight? Nah, G. Peace, 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 peace. You already know. Y'all know it's the love thing. All the time you just come over here to the town square where the MSG roam and have no fear. Ladies, kick up your feet. Relax your hair. You don't need welcome to wine. You can't have no beer. Generals, you already know what to do. Stomp your feet with your hands in the air. Shots and beers. Tonight gonna be a little. We going, dog. We flying off the handle tonight. So strap in. Who am I missing? Shout out to all the support. Appreciate banner. Let me run the banner. We have Big Reaper in the building. All right. We have my beautiful, intelligent tinfoil hat wearing sister. Shout out to y'all too. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. FDNHT to you, from me to you. I appreciate all the support. You already know. Off day, what's that? Real talk. It be that way sometimes, my G. I know exactly what you mean. Music is good. Music sound like it's low enough. All right, cool. Rolling. You rolling? Nico, what's up? Yeah, we jumping right into it, dog. I'm already late, so. I need to find somebody that's crazy nice with computers, bro. Village tech support, where you at? Microphone. Video is up. Tracking. Boom. We talking some shit tonight. You heard? Talking some shit tonight. Y'all ready? Rolling. I might have to turn the music down. People talking. I don't know. Let me know how the music in the background run when people are talking on the video. Not me. And also let me know if the video's too fast. I'll do a quick adjustment. You heard? T, what's up? Granny's baby's in the building. You right? I ain't even introduced the show yet. See? I'm behind. I hate being behind. Yo! He and I is him. Slim Trim and built to win. I am Flaco Birthday. AKA Granny's baby. AKA Numero Uno. Host that try not to do the most. From the east to the west coast. I don't brag, I don't boast. Round of applause for the village gang. And we in.
If you've been feeling like the phrase false flag is popping up somewhere in the news almost weekly lately, you're not alone. That's because it has been. But it seems like the meaning of false flag is getting a bit twisted, because some people will often use the expression to help them make sense of difficult situations that challenge their worldview. So in this video, let's break down what false flag operation actually is, where this phrase came from, and why it's gained so much traction in the media in recent years. You'll see some sources stating that false flag began in the 16th century because of pirate ships flying literal fake flags to be able to easily attack enemy ships. But this isn't quite right. The concept is true, but the nautical warfare aspect doesn't come into this story for another few hundred years, and we'll get to that a bit later. The first original meaning of false flag was a deliberate misrepresentation of motives or identity. This original meaning is entirely figurative, and you'll notice it has nothing to do with actual flags at all. False flag started in criticisms of religion. Specifically, the first documented use of false flag was in 1569, when a lawyer wrote this line in a book. Of this sort was Gardner, that abused K. Henry with a false flag of religion when he made his book of True Obedience. Oxford's English Dictionary includes another example from a couple hundred years later, again figuratively criticizing Roman Catholicism, this time in a sermon. A religion that acts in disguise and masquerade, changes frequently its colors, and puts out a false flag to conceal the pirate. It wasn't until the 1800s that false flag actually started referring to deception at sea, which is the popular but not quite right explanation for how the term started. This type of false flag came from rules on the ocean. An approaching ship had to have a flag up that indicated their nationality or allegiance. But here's where the rules get kind of wild. According to a 1914 law journal, it was perfectly legal under maritime law for a ship to fly a false flag when approaching an enemy or trying to escape from a situation. However, if they were going to make an attack, they had to switch the flag to their real alliance just before the attack happened. Kind of crazy. So this use isn't just the figurative use we talked about before. It's a literal fake flag that's flown to misrepresent a ship. This is the noun phrase sense. And from here, the meaning has snowballed into other aspects of military and political situations. Throughout history, there are many examples of these types of false flags, such as when military task forces pretend to be from a different country in order to gain an advantage. Over time, false flag came to be used as an adjective, a way to describe a military exercise or plan. This is how false flag operation emerged, through a kind of combination of the first two senses of the meanings of the phrase. It's both a deliberate misrepresentation of something and, in some cases, a display of a literal false flag. Probably the most infamous example of a false flag operation is one that happened in 1939, because it was the kickoff to World War II, the Gleiwitz incident. In 1939, Hitler was trying to round up international support for Germany to invade Poland, but people weren't exactly getting on board. Reports started appearing in German newspapers claiming that awful things like torture were happening to German citizens who lived in Poland. But this wasn't enough to sway the people. Instead, a plan was devised. The Germans rolled 1,000 tanks to the border with Poland. After they were in place, in the evening of August 31st, 7 SS soldiers dressed in Polish uniforms stormed into a radio transmission station in the border town of Gleiwitz. They announced into the radio that the station had been taken over by the Polish. Bodies were even left at the scene to make the attack look real. The radio broadcast was picked up all around Germany, and the next day, Hitler rolled his tanks into Poland. This is obviously a very extreme example, but it illustrates the very covert and sneaky nature of false flag operations. This leads us into our final but arguably most important point for this video: why false flag has been used with increasing frequency over the last couple decades. The concept of false flag operations became much more mainstream after the September 11th attacks in the US in 2001. It became a somewhat misguided way of trying to make sense of terrible tragedies, terrorist attacks, and shootings, which are often very difficult concepts to face. As the general public learned about false flag operations, more and more people began to theorize that certain awful things were not real, but rather were misrepresented or designed to look like something else, like a secret plan enacted by a government or a reclusive billionaire. And this is how the phrase false flag has grown into a meaning adjacent to conspiracy theory. By immediately jumping to categorize something like an awful attack or act of war as a false flag, no space is left to consider that what happened might actually be real. Too often, especially on social media, discussions will dismiss genuine tragedies as false flags instead of taking a deeper look at the situation. To compound this, we also now have a world where real and fake information is available to us online 24/7, and there are absolutely bad actors in the media and the political world who gain advantages by spinning stories in certain ways or making up outright lies. Distrust in the media has been growing for decades, and this only adds fuel to the conspiracy theory leanings of false flag. Labeling a military or political situation that challenges one's worldview as a false flag is one way that people make sense of information that doesn't fit what they believe. While it's uncomfortable to be presented with information that doesn't match our values or what we think is true, it's important we look critically at the information we have. I think that's a more respectful approach to the victims of tragedies and those affected by difficult political and military contexts. False flag operations are real, but labeling everything as a false flag means the expression loses its meaning. While a healthy dose of skepticism and critical thinking is extremely important when reading the news, we should acknowledge that unfortunately, some of those not so happy stories we see are real. Because if we call every tragedy a false flag, how will we be able to recognize one that's genuine? Now at least you know the full story behind the phrase false flag, and you can keep it in mind next time you're scrolling the news.
Alright. So there you go. I don't know if y'all knew this information, but there you go. When you keep hearing the term false flag, I think we knew what they were trying to say in its sense, right? False flag operation, false flag operation, false flag operation. I think we had the concept of it just because of the context that was around it. Perfectly fine. But sometimes we need to dig back and figure out the origin of something. Sometimes finding out the origin of something gives it a more gravitational meaning, right? Kind of drives it home. So now, there you go. You have officially been schooled on the origin and the meaning of the term false flag. Take that down so I don't get confused. That's not that one. No. This one. What is? Boom, boom. All right. We all know what happened in Utah. Since it happened in Utah, it's tens of thousands of videos out there. These 10,000 videos have racked up hundreds of millions of views, right? And you're gonna hear every single different person's perspective. Every single person, different perspective. You're gonna hear some that align with each other, some that align for the majority of the part that split off at the end, some that are completely just left and right, all in water. You're gonna hear some people that just going with whatever the media puts out and the investigators put out, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're gonna hear it across the board, right? Then you're gonna hear the word conspiracy theorists, right? Tomorrow I'll do the history on that and why that even became a thing. But right now we're about to listen to a different perspective, because we already gave our perspective here. We chopped it up. Everybody in here was giving back and forth, right, about what they saw, what their take on it was, whether it was just him, whether he was a PATSY, whether it was a lone shooter, across the board. We did it in this chat alone by ourselves. So imagine how it's really going on with all these other channels, channels that are actually way larger than mine, right? People that have millions of followers, right? You have a million followers. Let's say you get half of that in views. That's still 500,000 views, right? Per video. So imagine the conversation. Imagine how much people are actually talking in the conversation. And let's say half of those views they got live, right? That's still 250,000 people talking. Imagine that multiplied by let's say just 10 channels. You see how multiplication numbers start spinning, going crazy, right? Pause. You get one. You get one. Just one. Calm down. About to run into another video real quick. This is from Valhalla. Valhalla, big salute to you, G. You killing that shit. Valhalla's killing that shit right now. Big salute, appreciate the work from FDNHT to Valhalla. I think it's about Valhalla something T. I don't know if it's a GT or a VT, but big salute to y'all, man. It's in the video description. Why the fuck? No, it's not the fucking. You gotta be fucking shit. It's not the big. Boy, fuck it. All my life I had to fight. Gang, yo.
Be in the Charlie Kirk, I guess we can call it.
All right, here we go. It's finally working. Blade, you already know.
The debacle at this point continues to get even weirder as there's been some new footage and some new really big videos, two that we're going to look at in this video that have come out in the last couple of days. The first being from Range Day Bro, very good video showing Charlie Kirk was shot from behind, and this was an exit wound. That video, you've probably seen it, it's got like 5 million views, incredibly viral. And then this morning, a video comes out. First time we've seen footage from behind Charlie Kirk from Jesse with Fire's YouTube channel, maybe debunking some of the shot from behind, but also maybe not. Okay, so I've gone through both these videos. I found some things that are very, very compelling. And then I found some things that are showing maybe this isn't as conclusive proof as we thought about both of them, right? So that's what we're gonna do in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel. Let's jump into it. First video we're gonna go through is the Range Day Bro video showing Charlie Kirk potentially being shot from behind. There's some very, very important things that we're gonna take a look at with that video before we look at the brand new footage that just came out today. All right, so the overall.
I'm gonna slow down this part right here. These parts of the video I'm gonna try to slow down. Probably not so much, because we already know what happened. So we kind of just tracking what's being said. Y'all want me to slow it down so y'all could track a little bit better? Let me know. Just put Slow down, you false motherfucker, something like that.
Our theory here is that Charlie Kirk was actually shot from behind, upright. That round hits him in the base of the skull potentially, and this is actually an exit wound that we saw. This is a very good video. Looks very, very compelling, but there are some problems that we've now identified with the new footage. So let's check this out.
Which unfortunately we will blur out Charlie's face, but we will show what is necessary to prove that this was an entry and exit wound. So you'll see him circle the highlighted area right there, and you'll see the exit wound corresponding after, split second after, as it would from an entry and exit wound. So in this footage, you can clearly see that Charlie is shot from his back right, and there's blood splatter.
Okay, so this was very, very compelling at first when we talk about this. When you see this, that round, if it hits Charlie in the back of the neck, right, you see maybe some blood splatter out. And then after that blood splatter comes off, you see that potential exit wound coming out. A lot of people have said that's blood. A lot of people have said that's an earpiece. It's gone back and forth. The new footage that we're going to look at second proves what that actually was, and we're going to get to that, right? But still, very interesting. A lot of it kind of makes sense as we get into it, that potentially Charlie was shot from behind.
And you see what I'm saying? People are pulling these things apart. The more video that gets dumped, the more these videos that were taken on cell phones that get dumped on the internet. These journalists, these military, these investigators are just digging through all these videos, coming up with I've seen a shit ton. I only grabbed 2, but just to give you all an idea, they're different theories spinning out there.
And it exited through the front of his throat. All of the evidence points to Charlie being shot from his back right. Now, including this little blood splatter that we can see here against the white backdrop, the extreme hemorrhaging from the front of his neck, which again corresponds with an exit wound, the extreme loss of blood. No matter what the caliber is, that distance, that amount of meat is not enough for most bullets to expand. I mean, 99.9% of bullets will not expand in that short distance. Okay,
this is the second part I want you guys to know. What he just said there when he was talking about bullets, that most bullets, let's say if you had a 30-06 5.56 round, that potentially human neck is not thick enough for that round to, because when a ballistic round goes in, a full metal jacket round is designed to mushroom out, to like create more damage and then blow a huge exit hole out. So what he's saying there is, even though this is a small hole, because Charlie Kirk's neck is not that thick, it didn't give time for the round to potentially actually expand, and that's why it's a pretty small hole in the front for an exit wound. Absolutely could be the case, could be true. Okay, so but could have had a bigger exit wound. We can't really say one way or another conclusively, but what he's saying there is definitely ballistically possible. What I want you to look at now, the second thing, and this is going to be important because it's it's funny how these two videos, parts of these two videos disprove each video. This part, now if we look at the front of Charlie Kirk's shirt, pulling all the way up to his face like this is going to be very important when we talk about the next video. Okay, so these things I want you guys to keep an eye on. All right, so again, I'm sure you've seen his video, right? A lot of evidence, and to be honest, I'll tell you, from the acoustics we've had professional audio engineers do acoustics of the area. Most of what the evidence shows should lend towards the idea that potentially this round came from a suppressed round. We'll talk about the sound of the acoustics of the round here in a minute, from potentially behind Charlie, okay? There's a lot of evidence that is pushing that way. But there's some problems with this video here about who the shooter was, right? So take a look at this.
This guy's talking about this bush up here in the top left of this photo, and he zooms in on it, and he's stating that it does look suspicious. It does look suspicious. It looks like there is a person right here, and it looks like there is a rifle right here that the person is holding, a hand here, support hand, sort of very blurry image, but you can clearly make out that this is not just a bush.
Okay, so this is a big problem. So when you look at this, it's, again, like, it's so low fidelity, it's hard to say. We're kind of assuming things here. So I figured, why don't I find the overhead imagery of that platform and see what's actually up there beyond just this guy in the bush, which we found, and it's going to complicate some things. All right, guys, so here's this platform. Here's this supposed guy up behind here. Kind of looks like that, right? But when we see some overhead imagery of this, now we might be able to actually see what this is, okay? And as you can see, this is obviously overhead imagery. Nobody's there, right? This potential shooter's not just still standing up here behind this bush. But if we look at this, it looks to be like some sort of bench with a bush on top of it, would lend towards what looks like, you know, sort of you see something behind that bush. Well, that's probably that bench and that bush or whatever it is. Again, not saying that this wasn't potentially a shooter hiding behind this, but if we zoom in, we can very clearly see what looks to be some sort of bench and maybe, you know, a bush. Almost looks like a guy sitting there with a rifle. So again, I'm assuming this is, in that first image, is such low fidelity that this is actually what you're seeing up there, not a person hiding behind a bush. But yeah, who knows? Again, not saying that he wasn't shot from behind or the upright, but I think the idea that that guy was behind a bush, it's kind of a long shot now, seeing that overhead imagery. And we're gonna run some complications. Was that blood blowing out the back, or was that an earpiece? And this new video shows us a lot of new information. All right, guys, the world is crazy right now. It's very easy to get super stressed out. The best way you can combat that, keep that mental health up, is working out. If you're gonna work out, you might as well use the right supplements. That brings us to today's sponsor, Tasty Gains. Tasty Gains creatine, only one of the best supplements that you can take for your overall health and fitness journey. So link in the pinned comment, seen anywhere of the actual hit from behind, and it gives us a lot of new information.
On Fox News, and then we're going to show him specifically in the video and exactly how he behaved, because I think it answers that question pretty definitively. All right, so here's what we're looking at. He gets hit right here, and I freeze frame the first moment that it hits him, and you can see right there, it blows backwards, okay? Now we're gonna look at that again, because I think that is the most definitive thing that we've seen in terms of the direction. To me, it seems very clear that the shot came from the front, because again, his shirt blows backwards. And take a look again, and you see the way that his body reacts.
Okay, let's talk about some things here. Very, very interesting video. There's a lot going on here. I want to break it all down. Okay. Is this definitive proof that Charlie was shot from the front because his t-shirt billows up from behind? Well, like I said earlier, that clip we showed, the problem with this theory is that the front of Charlie Kirk's shirt also blows way up. Okay. We've seen both the front and the back do the same thing. The other problem I'm having with this is from behind, you can very clearly see there's no exit wound coming out the right back of his neck where this potentially is pulling that shirt up from. So if there's no exit wound and the bullet did not pass through, what exactly, the bullet's not causing that shirt to get pulled up and backwards. It's potentially just still shockwave of Charlie being hit by something. And again, front of the shirt does it, back of the shirt does it. I'm not willing to say that's conclusive evidence of Charlie Kirk being shot from the front at all, based off of just the reaction. And had it just been the back of the shirt raised and we saw an exit wound, got it. The fact that the front of the shirt also raises and there's no exit wound, I don't know. I don't think that's proof of much. Personally, could Charlie Kirk have been hit in the base of the skull from the back right, which the impact of that causes both the front and the back of the shirt to raise? Maybe. I'm not sure. But could it also be a front shot? Absolutely. We're trying to figure that out. But the next really important part of this is what we can see from behind now. And that is what is very clearly not blood and an earpiece. So I'm still framing this so you guys can see this. This is right as Charlie Kirk is hit. What I want you to notice is, and we'll play it in slow motion here, this is what comes off of Charlie. This is what we see from that range day video from behind. What he said is that blood splatter. Problems with that is the color of Charlie's hair. Okay, so this is not a great high fidelity camera, so this wouldn't be picking up blood. Charlie's blood is not white. What is seems to me to be clear that Charlie has, and I have one right here with me, is a clear earpiece. So can't actually probably see it next to his skin that well. But when he gets hit, you can very clearly see that would not be red blood. You would not be able to make that red blood out next to his dark hair. That is obviously a white or clear piece of some type of equipment, whether microphone, earphone, not blood. All right, now let's actually watch it in slow motion. Earpiece, you can see it against his head and it flies off. Yep, you can actually see it coming down the back of his shirt there. Do you see that? Yep, there it goes. So he's basically running an earpiece up the back of his shirt, which is the way I do it when I stream, right to his ear. Apparently, that's what it looks like to me. Slow back down. Here it is again. Earpiece. Yep. Can see it right. Yep, can see it coming all the way out of his shirt. All right, due to the color, due to the way you can actually see it, you can completely see it's some type of wired piece of equipment, not blood. That raises some massive complications for the range day video, because if there's no actual blood splatter coming out of the back, and that doesn't disprove the theory, because if this was some type of high-powered rifle round entrance wound just below the base of, Charlie's skull, you wouldn't be able to see it either. Entrance wounds actually aren't that big, especially right when they first enter, right? The round hasn't mushroomed at all. And so could that be at the base beneath Charlie's hair and we can't even see it? And this still be an exit wound? Absolutely 100%. And it would even be unlikely blood would splatter out the back of his neck.
This is the part that gets me right. His initial reaction isn't forward, right? The initial reaction is backwards. It's backwards like this. That would mean the force came from the front. Now, if you just punch somebody in the chest, the head doesn't go back, right? Am I tripping?
Muscle here anyway, guys. Like, there's not a lot of blood, pooled up back here or anything like that for an entrance wound to cause that. So it actually makes far more sense that was some type of piece of equipment to begin with. But again, that just sort of disproves the idea that we have this blood splatter that proves Charlie was shot from behind. Now we're back to theories. Okay, something else that's really interesting from this angle and what you can see, and I've kind of seen this in all the different angles of stuff, is now we're going to talk about the acoustics, the sound a 30-06 makes, and the reaction of the crowd. So I want to show you guys this. All right, keep your eyes on the crowd. Okay, notice what they continue to look at and what they don't do. So they're all looking at Charlie's been hit. The gunshot has gone off already. Look at everybody's faces. Everybody's still watching Charlie. Not a single person. So they're all looking at Charlie's been hit. The gunshot has gone off already. Look at everybody's faces. Everybody's still watching Charlie. Not a single person has looked behind them. Not one person looks behind them when that gunshot goes off. This is important. See, this guy in front doesn't even look at anything. So he hasn't even heard anything. Also, as you see here, with this guy that's running security for Charlie, I want you to look at his ear. What do we see coming up the back of his neck here? You see that clear earpiece that becomes invisible, and you can't see this earpiece at all in his ear? You wouldn't be able to see it from Charlie too. So that's the equipment that Charlie's team's wearing. Okay, just more further evidence of that. But to talk about why no, and I've looked at a bunch of different angles. We're talking about a 30-06 round, guys. I've got one sitting right here, and I can tell you, I mean, look how big the cartridge is on this compared to a 5.56 round, right? It's massive. And with that, added gunpowder makes it extremely loud. I want you guys to realize this. If the shooter is 100 yards or 150 yards away, which is not very far away, in this amphitheater, and a 30-06 unsuppressed, which according to the FBI pictures, it's an unsuppressed 30-06, were to have gone off, I can promise you, everyone in that amphitheater would have jumped because it would have sounded like a bomb going off, and they would have all looked, because this is what human beings do when a giant boom goes off in a direction. They've all looked, the whole crowd would have looked up to that roof. Basically, no one other than one guy who, with the long-haired hippie dude that we saw turn around cheering, is the only person I've seen turn around and look.
That's a good point. even though it's an ampy, you're gonna have the original sound crack off first. Because it's one single sound. It's not like music playing in the amphitheater. Right? It's not like music playing through the amphitheater. It's one single sound. So you're gonna hear it reverberate, but you're gonna hear that original crack. And a 30-06 don't crack. It don't sound like, it doesn't sound like what cracks. A 15 has more of a crackish sound than a 30-06. Even though a 15 still has a lot of bang to it, but it cracks way more than a 30. A 30-06 is pure boom. No, there's no cracking.
In that direction. That tells me, and from what the crowd has said, it sounded like a 22 or a suppressed 5.56 or something. Everyone in the crowd I've seen talk about this, that's what they've thought. It's very clearly that was not a 30-06 going off on that roof, just based off of the crowd reaction. All right, so where does that leave us currently? Well, problem now is, now we're kind of back to square one, because there's no real definitive proof now that he did get shot from behind. I think a lot of the evidence still pushes that way, right? But it's very possible that he could have got shot in the front. And if we're talking about no exit wound, okay, well, if he did get shot from the front, it definitely wasn't with this 30-06 round. So now where are we at? Something's not adding up in this official story, right? Either that's not the weapon, either that's not where he was shot from. Because if he did get shot, let's say he got shot from behind, right, and it traveled through and this is an exit wound, well, the surgeon said the body was found in the skin. So that the surgeon story and that story don't work. And then if we want to talk about, oh, well, he was shot from the front, okay, and the bullet didn't go through, and we say the surgeon story is true, that's fine. But now the FBI story doesn't work with this 30-06. That's not possible. So we're kind of right back where we started, unfortunately. But I'll tell you, we could solve this. We could solve this case right now. I could solve this case by myself right now if they let me see the autopsy and if they let me see the high fidelity camera footage from right behind Charlie. Why? Because I would be easy. It would be just immediately be able to tell, well, if he got shot in the back of the head, we'd see the entrance and the exit wound. Well, if he didn't get shot in the back of the head and he got shot in the front, we'd be able to see just the entrance wound. Show me the bullet. I mean, you have the bullet. The surgeon said the bullet's there. I mean, a forensics expert would immediately be able to say this is a 5.56, a 2.23, a pistol round, whatever. And that high fidelity footage would show us a lot about potentially what happened back here. But the two things that we need to just easily, I'm telling you, easily, not solve who did it, but solve.
There you go. Completely different theory, which is fine. Because this is what we're left to. Because the feds are acting like they just want to play their cards so close to their chest. This is where we're left with. Still think it tumbled, but I may have missed something though. All right. I that tumble thing works for me. It works for me completely because that would be a good reason why it looked like it kind of like gashed. Right? It didn't look like it didn't look like when you saw the flesh and the gooey and the nasty shit, right? It didn't explode. It looked like it got cut open. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that. That's exactly how it looks, bro. Ooh, shit. Fair enough. I respect it. Absolutely respect it, G. But tonight, no, we just chilling. I guess everybody came in for the jokes and the laughter. Not tonight. Sorry to disappoint, but I'm not sorry. Next video rolling. Damn, we had 34. This is gonna be a quick show today. That's the thing. You don't got no fat in your neck though. Charlie didn't have no fat in his neck. Charlie was skinny as shit. Smoking and watching Netflix. Big salute, my G. Thanks for stopping by. Messi was just here. She banged out and let everybody know she was leaving. What she said? I don't even know what she said. It's up there in the damn chat. I'm taking my ball and going home. But yeah, that was one. There's another video with another perspective. Let's take a quick spin though. We're at the 35-minute marker. Damn, we smoking through this. I didn't think it was gonna be this fast. Yo, you already know, hit the like, share, subscribe, setting up the flag. Not the false one, the real one. You heard? Bang, bang. Let me load the other video real quick. Let me rolling through this one. This one ain't even that long either. We smoking through the bitches today. That's good though, because it's Friday. The week been long. We got shit going on. Yeah, it's time to rest, man. I ain't mad at it at all. I'm good to go. Boom. Boom, boom, cool. After this, I pretty much got one video. Rolling.
Let's start with the breaking news. I don't even know if it's considered breaking news when it comes to the feds. Look, I don't think it's breaking news. I think it's just the news. This is what they do. Well, I have it now on a very well-placed authoritative source that the FBI is putting an absurd amount of pressure right now on the authorities in Utah and also the rest of the government in Utah to come out and to say that the Charlie Kirk case is closed. They want it over. They want Charlie's assassination to be officially ruled lone gunman. It was a lone gunman that did that. Nobody else is involved. Now, why would they? Why would they want that, right? What are they saying, at least to the authorities? Are they saying like, this is the reason? I'm sure they're not coming out and being honest or saying something that might ring truer to us, the public, which would be them saying, well, we know who did this and we want to protect those people, so close the case. What they're actually saying instead is essentially, if you don't close the case against Charlie Kirk and rule it a lone gunman, then it might mess up our prosecution against Tyler Robinson. That feels a little bit to me like moral blackmail. Hey, man, we're not hiding anything, but we got this guy, Tyler Robinson. If you don't close this case, then it might harm our chances of locking this guy up. Yeah, I'm sure. I am sure that they are being just moral. I'm sure they're telling the truth to the authorities. Now, I want to remind you guys, we should take a look at their current case against Tyler Robinson to see if we should accept this narrative, because currently there is absolutely no video which shows Tyler Robinson firing the weapon or even taking aim at Charlie Kirk. In fact, the individual who filmed the footage of the shooter on the roof.
Yo, he could beat this case though. That's the crazy part about it. He could beat this case. He could absolutely beat this case.
The lone video that exists of the shooter on the roof also told me that he doesn't think that Tyler Robinson is the guy. So how's that going to work for an eyewitness account? When he reported the shooter on the roof to Utah on the campus, he was clear that the person was wearing an entirely different outfit than the ones that they're currently trying to claim that Tyler wore on that day. Remember, Tyler was just supposed to be wearing a t-shirt and some jeans. He says, no, he was in tactical gear. The person that I saw was in tactical gear. Also, that eyewitness told me that that gun doesn't even match what I saw. And like I said, this individual definitively has experience with guns. He teaches people how to fire guns. So according to him, what he observed.
What the shit?
All right, you guys, it is Wednesday, and I have a lot for you today. Blackmail. Hey, man, we're not hiding anything, but we got this guy, Tyler Robinson, the shooter on the roof, also told me that he doesn't think that Tyler Robinson is the guy.
That shit been going all
so
night.
How's that going to work for an eyewitness account? When he reported the shooter on the roof to Utah on the campus, he was clear that the person was wearing an entirely different outfit than the ones that they're currently trying to claim that Tyler wore on that day. Remember, Tyler was just supposed to be wearing a t-shirt and some jeans. He says, no, he was in tactical gear. The person that I saw was in tactical gear. Also, that eyewitness told me that that gun doesn't even match what I saw. And like I said, this individual definitively has experience with guns. He teaches people how to fire guns. So according to him and what he observed, if he's going to be brought into this court.
You know what's wild? If this information is out there, right? The information is out there. Remember, the feds put out that message saying, yeah, with a good lawyer, he's definitely being this. Remember, the feds put out that message saying we're tracking out all streams of information that was given to us. Nothing that they procured on their own, per se. They say they're tracing down every line, every line, every line, every line. Wouldn't this be one of the most potent lines? Does this seem more potent than that fucking plane they talked about? Some plane with the turn up the transponder that was flying around? Doesn't that piece of information seem way more paramount than a fucking plane in the airport down the way that was close? No? Okay.
Case that they're saying they want to, they'll bring charges against Tyler. He's going to testify and say, no, that doesn't look like the gun. That doesn't look like the person. So how's this going to work? Also, according to the individual that told me this regarding the feds trying to push for this case closure, The feds don't even have any footage that explains how exactly the rifle in particular got onto the roof. That stuns me. That's stunning information, right? Because all we have is, well, in the indictment, he dropped onto the roof at 12:15 p.m. Tyler Robinson just dropped onto the roof. I guess in our minds, we assumed on the basis of the picture that they released the sole picture or set of pictures from the same moment of him walking up the stairs. We assumed that he, like I said, stanky-legged it, the whole stanky-leg all the way up onto the rooftop. That was our perception. But it turns out, according to my source, they don't know how the rifle got onto the roof. That's interesting. How are we bringing this to trial? Now, regarding bullets, the source says that it was too...
It's so many holes. How could the Fed feel like this case is just sealed? And I'm saying, I'm taking her at her word. Like, her word is it's God's word, right? If the Feds are saying, seal it up, from our perspective, we see all the holes in it. She clearly sees all the holes in it. So I just don't. Isn't the Fed supposed to have that killer, that monster rate of what's it called? This motherfucker. What the fuck is going on here? Isn't that supposed to just wouldn't you want to open check like something that's completely sealed, right? All the evidence. Yo, dog, I don't know what is going on. These browsers been tripping all night. I'm about to share it again. Why is it going to this screen? I don't even use this fucking screen, yo. This fucking stream, y'all, boy, I fucking swear. So when have I ever shot in this? When have I ever shot like this? When? When have I ever shot like this? Never. Not one time. What the fuck view is this? Oh my.
Fragmented to match Tyler's rifle. So they don't have even.
That's why I'm late, bro.
And
that's exactly what the fuck
let's not
I'm late.
forget that Tyler himself has not confessed to anything. And that part also didn't make sense. So they brought him in. The Lackman puts up $1 million. Tyler's dad gets the sheriff friend to come over and they say he did it. And the police come and they bring him in. They bring Tyler Robinson in, but Tyler Robinson doesn't confess. So how did you arrest him? Does that make sense? How could you make an arrest if you didn't have a confession? You would have to have evidence, and the evidence can't be trust my dad, bro. You can't. If I just bring in a random person, I say, oh look, Skylar just committed this crime, and Skylar says no, I didn't, and he doesn't confess. The police can't just make an arrest. You just arrest Skylar. Nothing is making sense at all. It has not made sense from the very beginning. Okay,
right, possible,
and that's because the feds are involved, and I believe the feds know exactly what happened. In fact, I don't think it's a stretch of imagination when we examine history to assume that they maybe even had some foreknowledge. Not everybody, obviously, because some people are trying to get the information out and are trying to figure out what happened. But we know that there are people that are part of the apparatus who are terrible human beings, who we do not want ruling over us, and yet they do. So
another thing too, the love interest ain't that innocent. I forgot who said it in here. I forgot who said it in the chat. Somebody brought up the love interest, something. Somebody, one of them days you're talking about, somebody said something. And yeah. Trin, what? Oh yeah. Dog, no evidence. None. For real. No evidence. There's no evidence. There's nothing solid for the feds to take it on. Like,
So I'm just curious how exactly they believe they are going to convict Tyler Robinson on this. Oh, you know what? It's probably the Discord messages. I forgot, silly me. The Discord, I forgot it was so explicit. How could we forget? Oh, Lance, wherefore art thou, Lance? Deny thy father and refuse thy name? And with thou wilt not, Lance, the bullets, me, my handprints, it was me, my love. I did everything. I carved it. Do you remember, my love, when I was carving the bullets? Yes. Exactly this time is when I did it. And these are the reasons, my MAGA daddy, my love, thou wilt not, my love. Cool. Cool story. Very cool story, Feds.
That love interest ain't as innocent, dog. That love interest ain't innocent at all.
Kind of feeling like Tyler's gonna get off.
I won't be surprised if that's the one who put him on to make him a patsy. Real talk.
Because they've got really nothing but prints, and from my sources, it's not the only set of prints that are on that gun. In fact, the only thing that I have heard that made sense, which did not come from our government, did not come from the feds, not come from the Utah government, but rather from the people that are on the ground who believe that actually Tyler was just told to walk and drop off his gun at a neighboring house. That for some reason just feels like that might be honest, and that was how he participated in this event. But we'll see, because I'm not going to let this go. So we'll see if the feds tell us to just dismiss it, as they always do. You know, rather relatedly, something that I want to tell you, yesterday we had showed you a clip of Charlie discussing our friendship.
They do, don't it? There's too many holes in this shit. Why would he say he did it for all? Bruh, it's, for one, that whole conversation is just too compressed and packed neatly, and it's good to go. There's no, what did they say after that? What did they say before that? Like what was it? No.
Friendship and how he was feeling morally blackmailed over it. And in that same clip, he mentions a very fond memory that I have, that he was there when I met my husband, and he says it's a really fun story. And it is a fun story. It's actually a totally fun, crazy story of how I met my husband, because I had something that came over me, and that's the only way I can describe it. And I get all the conspiracy, and I did something that I had never done. I took Charlie from NYC to London for, we were there to help Turning Point UK get set up. Happened, you know, there at first was of hiring people at the, okay, that's weird. I kept looking online, and strangely, I'm not kidding, I'm gonna show you these messages. I came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees. You're going to guess, literally bees, in a way that the only way I can describe it to you is like they were speaking about bees, but they weren't speaking about bees. It was very coded.
Now this is about to get real, no context whatsoever. Exactly, Reaper. Exactly. It's just too much. What did he talk about when he went to his parents' house? And because you know they talking all night. There's no way that you just drop something this heavy on your love interest and that's it. That's all y'all talk about. Like there's no more text for the whole night until he goes, come on with the game. If you call your old lady and say, yo, I had to drop somebody, you think she's just gonna text you, or she's gonna keep calling, or she's gonna call your phone immediately? Let's be real. Hey, yo, you saw what happened on TV? No, my bad. Hey, yo, you saw what happened on TV? Yeah, man, I had to do it, man. I just couldn't let that hate live in the world any longer. You can't negotiate with hate. You think your love interest is gonna sit there and read that, or they finna call you? Your love interest is gonna have a whole text message about this whole shit. They're gonna sit there and talk and text back and forth. They're gonna call. If they're in that much disbelief, they're going to call. With that much concern, they're going to call. Straight up.
And I'm going, am I going crazy? Or do you think that all these people are really actually, quote unquote, bee farmers?
Now, this part is about the really tinfoil hat. But listen to this. And I was sitting there like, yo, where's she going with this? It took me a while. And I almost clicked off the video, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm super glad I did not click off the video. Listen to this. And this is a little rabbit holey and a little tinfoil hatty. But listen to this shit.
Or saying that they farm bees. What is this lingo that I'm not understanding? Why do I feel like it's related to students? I didn't feel good about it at all. And I just sensed that we needed to get more involved, to go to the school, to ask about the process of hiring, to see if they needed more security. They were kind of giving up me the, thing that teachers do now when you ask any questions about what happens at the school, which is they make you think like, why do you want to know? Like, we just do whatever we want to do. It's like, I don't know. My children are like 5 and 4, actually. Parents should, of course, we need to be more involved. Like, how did we get here? That we feel like we're crazy for asking questions about the hiring practices at schools. And the feeling just didn't go away. I can't show you this actually, because I was thinking, like, I said to my husband, there is some weird underground, like I sense like imminent danger is coming. And for some reason, I feel like there is an underground that has emerged at schools, and it's like related to bees. That's what I said. And I messaged multiple people about this, my sister. Here are a couple of more text messages to other people. You can look at the time frame here. This is 8:30, August 30th. This is September 1st. We went off air. September 2nd, we were off air. And I started talking about people that were discussing bees in a way that didn't make sense. I'm like, I don't know if this is drugs, I don't know what it is, but it's weird. And so in a sentence, I just said, There's imminent danger coming, okay? It is relating to a school. I think it's a communist underground, and I don't know why, but it has something to do with bees. Totally sensible thing to say to your husband. Oh, and we need to hire more security. And we did. We hired more security that very week. And I was just frantic about it. And we made the decision that we needed to homeschool immediately and started the process, pulled our kids out of homeschooling and starting to interview people. But it wasn't enough. Like, despite hiring more security, despite taking my kids out of school, I still had a sense of dread. The Tuesday night, the night before Charlie got assassinated, I had book club, and I felt like I needed to emphasize to people in book club that it was time to take their kids out of school. Like, take your kids out of school. Something, danger is happening right now. And I'm going to show you a clip. Obviously, this is all behind the paywall of what I said to people that are in the book club. Take a listen. I'm homeschooling my kids. I'm so excited. I'm like very excited. I'm embarking on this recent decision. And it is just, I can't explain to you when a weight got lifted off my shoulders, because I was like, I can't just speak about this. Like, we have to do it and show people that it can be done. And I'm so glad that my sister who did it first, because I was like, my sister, it was very difficult for her to do this. She's got to wake up super early, but seeing her do it made me go, my older sister, I was like, what am I, what program, pre-K program, and like, you can't be your student person at all. And then someone told me, and I was astonished, that Utah recently, extraordinarily, did modernize their bee flag. I had no idea that the Utah state flag is a hexagonal beehive, right? And unbeknownst to me, that it has always been the
Utah state flag, hexagonal beehive.
Beehive state. So in 2024, they modernized their flag, but they've always been known as the beehive state. And to be clear, it's not because they make honey. It's not because they have a high presence of bees. In fact,
Look how weird that is. I don't believe in coincidence at all, G. Sorry, not I. Nope, not me. I don't believe in coincidence.
in terms of making honey or bee-related products, they rank number 24. It's actually the beehive state. It relates to the Mormon Church, the Church of Latter-day Saints. Early Mormon pioneers founded that state, and they liked the idea of a beehive working toward a common good. Now, if that sounds vaguely familiar or communist to you, the idea of worker bees, yes, that's where it's from. So this sort of doom that I had about an underground happening, I was just like totally freaked out. It's a Soviet symbol, the idea of making everybody into a worker bee. And whether you're on the left or the right, you should understand where the public school system comes from. Okay, it is shaped by Soviet ideology. I tell people a must-read book is Inside the American Education System by Thomas Sowell. It is not left or right. He is just telling you how it all came together. The decline, the deception, the dogmas, and how they are programming our children. You cannot unread that book after you read it, because you realize there's no such thing as being too hawkish. They know how to get things in there and how to pull children away from their parents as it was designed in the Soviet system. Okay, kindergarten, you're like, where does that word even come from? Well, it was established by the communists that tried to overthrow Germany and failed in 1848. Margaret Schurz's, her family came here, and those same communists wanted to make sure that they established kindergarten access to children. They then fought to make sure that we federalized the education system. These are the same people that pushed to make it so that homeschooling is not a thing. Right? Like I said, the very reason they wanted to establish public education is because it is essential.
Ain't it illegal in some places and states to homeschool your children? I know it was. I don't know if it still is, but I knew for sure it definitely was at one point in time.
For radical ideology. They understand something that I think that we have maybe forgotten, which is that children are the most precious resource. The reason for that is because they are the future. One way or another, children are the future, okay? After Charlie's assassination, that feeling still did not dissipate, okay? I understood the imminent doom that I felt that was almost crippling was clearly related to that event, but I just know that all of these random lone shooter narratives that are being intentionally, we're being told that they're just lone shooters and then we don't really know anything else. I just feel it spiritually that these people are being programmed, and perhaps that's the reason why more often than not, they are being protected by our government. In other words, it is positively foolish for us to believe that the government just cannot tell us anything about these assassins. They wipe everything and they tell us nothing. Why would they do that? Yeah, and that guy, they're always working alone. There's no online history that we can reflect on. What are you talking about? Which brings me to Thomas Matthew Crooks, because that's exactly what we were told or not told when on July 13th, 2024, a 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks climbed onto a roof and tries to assassinate President Donald Trump. Gratefully, Donald Trump did not die, but tragically, one of his supporters did. Okay, a 50-year-old firefighter named Corey Comparatori lost his life trying to save his children. And we were told virtually nothing. In fact, we were, and I'm
one person did lose their life.
Iran did this. What? Because they were itching for war with Iran. Like, they're still itching for war with Iran, but like that's what basically was a narrative that was established. They had some warnings that Iran was going to try to assassinate Trump, and we're going, what? Well, guess what happened? Somebody reached out to me because I have been obviously leading the forefront in investigating this lone shooter as it pertains to Charlie Kirk. It's not a lone shooter. It's a hive. I feel it spiritually. And they said, look, actually, I had been able to scrape everything about Thomas Crooks before the feds got rid of everything. And it's shocking what you look at. There's no way this person was not on the federal radar. Now, usually we go, was he on the left? Was he on the right? because that's the bait. The bait is to make me as a conservative hate you if you're on the left, and if you're on the left, it'll also hate Candace because it allows them to operate in broad daylight. The reality of Thomas Crooks is going to be a story that we should get familiar with. He was at both on the left and on the right. He actually traded sides. He started actually as a Trump supporter. I'm going to show you, and again, to really impress upon you how much this person had to be on the federal radar. I have an 80-page document, which I'm thinking I'm just going to drop on my website tomorrow after handing it over to legal, of all the accounts that he made, all the statements that he made. And he was at first very angry against the left. I mean, outwardly calling for the murder of people that are on the left. And there were videos that he was posting of himself shooting with no bullets in the gun in his bedroom. I'm going to show you one of those videos that's since been scraped. Don't worry, we blurred the weapon, just, to keep things above bar here.
So she's about to talk about the other guy, right? And how when they say there's no history, or there's no evidence, or there's no online presence, or no online footprints, right? No media footprints, social media footprints, no Google search footprints. She's saying that it's impossible, especially with that one, right? And with the Charlie Kirk one, there's a whole conversation about them having on Discord, being the Groypers and being part of the Groyper gang and all the other shit.
Take a look. Now, if you're listening to this and you are on Spotify, essentially, or on Apple, what's essentially happening here, he's just in his room and there's no bullets in it, but he's practicing firing a weapon. And his online history, there's multiple videos that are like this, which I have. His online history shows he was extraordinarily violent. He was always calling for violence. And I can show you one of his comments that he made. This was a comment on a video, Trump humiliated on national TV. And he wrote to someone, haha, that's funny because I always believed being patriotic was lining up a bunch of socialist Jews like the ones that booed Trump and blasting their useless brains out with an AR. Well, to each his own. I mean, that's unbelievably violent. Again, another comment where he was commenting on a YouTube video. He wrote, I've noticed a lot of liars talking about the truth in this post. Well, let me tell you some truth. Every one of the Trump-hating Democrats deserves to have their heads chopped off and put on stakes for the world to see what happens when you F with America. So you go, okay, this guy was a Trump supporter. Then he does a radical transformation around 2020. And this had something to do with COVID. He got very angry at Trump and he was outwardly saying things where people were reporting them on YouTube being like, this guy is absolutely insane. He's a maniac. He's a maniac. He was a maniac who was obsessed with Trump one way or the other. And then he went very much, obviously, which is the reason why he tried to assassinate him post-COVID. He just starts going completely crazy. And he is explicitly researching on Google the history of these assassinations. I can show you his search history here.
But doesn't that make sense, though? You are radicalized for, let's say they're right, just like this guy, and you switch sides, wouldn't you also become a radical for the left side? Because you're radical in general. You want blood to be on the streets. You want bodies on the floor. It just makes perfect sense to me. If you're a radical left and you switch over to being a right, you're not going to be a regular right. You're not going to be the normal type of Republican, right? You're going to be a radical Republican. To me, it's ASAP obvious, immediately obvious.
Here, leading up to this, he searched best places for a mass shooting. Here are some of his other Google searches. I think we can just scroll down here. Yeah, okay, and this has a timeline on this. Again, I'm going to probably just post this document because you can handle the truth. He's fascinated with this stuff. He was fascinated. You can see here, guns versus protesters, Orlando shooting reaction, cars running over protesters, firing an AR-15 as fast as possible, fertilizer bomb, how do you use a tourniquet, how to make Molotov cocktail, how to make Molotov cocktails, pardon me, mixing gasoline with styrofoam, mass shooting, Canada, Oklahoma bombing, sniper in Dallas shooting. You want me to believe on the basis of what I have seen that this individual wasn't on federal radar? Just wasn't on federal radar? Guys, that is a nonsense, okay? That is an absolute nonsense. And again, the other element of this is we're never going to be told what therapists he was seeing. Okay, his mom's walking in the room. He's practicing how to shoot. It's very clear. You can see it in the background. He's practicing shots. They want us to believe that this just happened by accident, even though for years he was documenting wanting to harm politicians and people that were on the left and people that were on the right. Again, on the basis of everything, whether it was their race, their color, whether they were homosexual, there's something there for everyone. So what's happening here? Well, I can tell you my suspicion. I think that this is a program. I don't know, but I know. You know? I don't know, but I know. Because it is giving me the same ick that I had when I was looking through the period and learning the reality of what happened throughout the 1960s when MKUltra and that program was running. And I have no reason to believe that that program was ever discontinued. And I believe that they find these candidates in schools. I really do. I think they find these candidates in schools. And so I wanted to express that to you, that we, once again, are having a predicament and we can trace this straight from what they did to when JFK was assassinated. where the feds are obscuring. They are using journalists to obscure. They are putting pressure on government officials. They are lying to the public about everything, except this time it's regarding Charlie Kirk, which means this time it's not going to fly because I'm not going to allow it to. We'll take a pause here. We're going to get to something that Megyn Kelly shared on her show about a hex that was put on Charlie Kirk, which is important for us to discuss for a variety of reasons. First, I'm going to throw to some sponsors. Riverbend.
Candace, thank you so much. Hey, you know how I feel about you. I think you are a monster. You are probably the biggest dog in the pen right now, and you locked onto that bone. Do not let go. Trust me. Keep doing the good work. I promise you, I would love to have a friend like you riding for me. Something happened to me, and you feel like it was foul. I absolutely would love the friend to ride for me. Like, I do have a friend that rides for me like that. That's what I'm saying. So the fact that you're riding for your man's like this hard, this determined, this committed to it. Hold on, let me give you big salute. Stay at it. Stay the course. Stay the course. Stay the course. You always welcome over here at FDNHT. Always welcome over here. I like the work that you're doing. That's it for Candace. We dropped that one. Now we got one more vid, and then we out skis. It is Friday night, man. We ain't gotta go crazy tonight, but I will be going crazy this weekend. I got way more stuff to pull out the vault. But I still want to have a fun night this weekend because it's the weekend. We should relax. So trying to schedule that, trying to work it out on my schedule. I can get everything accomplished timely manner. Still have time for me and the baby and all the other stuff. You heard? We are the last generation that use landlines. But yeah, for sure. All right, so shout out to this is Jesse on Fire. This is a completely new take on what happened. A completely new one. Remember, that's why I started the video with that take, and that take had 2 takes in it, so we had 3 tonight. That one had the it was the one from the back, and the other one had the I forgot what the other one was. It was one from the back that came from a different angle. I forgot what the other one was. But this one is a completely different take. I don't think anybody has heard this one yet. I don't think anybody has heard this one. When I heard it, my mind just went crazy. Check this one out. Adding it right now. We're not gonna be here long tonight. It's Friday night. Absolutely Friday night. I'm already a little frustrated with how the computer been tripping. So I'm trying to be cool about it. And I still get it done. I've never used any of these setups. Why is it doing this? I don't even know why these setups even exist. I don't use them. And the one that I use is doing this. This is madness. All right, we're rolling.
I do a video where we examine the shot from behind theory. Yesterday, I have an exclusive video that appears that Charlie shot from the front, and we go through all of that. Okay. Now there has been a video released that is very compelling. Okay. That Charlie was not in fact shot with a gun, but was killed with a device that was right here. And it might sound crazy to you, but just sit tight because there's plenty of footage to look at. And obviously, if he was killed with a device right there, assuming that you are familiar with history within the last 18 months.
Jesse on Fire, shout out to you, man. It's probably like my 3rd video of yours that I watched, but shout out to you. Stay the course, bro. Stay the course. People like you, Candace, Valhalla. It's 2 other guys that I ran across this week also. Y'all doing the Lord's work, man. Trying to get answers, using everything that's given to try to figure some shit out that's extremely muddy. Trying to clear up muddy waters. Stay the course. Stay the course. Stay the course. Big salute. You already know what it is.
Months of where people were killed with remote devices at a state actor level, then you already know why people are entertaining this theory very seriously. when you look at it. And here's the thing, okay? This is the really important part. Let's say that this is all exactly correct, and it is very compelling when you look at it. Okay, there's a lot of other questions to answer, a lot of other questions, okay? Where is Tyler Robinson, right? Why is he on the roof, okay? Why is he jumping down with something that might or might not be a rifle? What's up with the boyfriend? Where did they get these text messages? And every other thing in terms of how this was put together to put people off the scent of a state actor. And that is the value that I am going to provide, even if you have already seen this remote detonation thing that's ripping around the internet, okay? Because I can tie all of those bows for you, okay? Now, obviously, this is theoretical, dude. I have no ability to prove this. I just have the type of brain that kind of remembers. I remember things, like I remember everything, actually. And so when something like this comes in, and I heard a couple new things last night, that's like a theory from Valhalla, actually, specifically. Valhalla VFT, he did a video using my footage from the front, and he was talking about exactly how he would have successfully, okay, no loose ends. And I will warn you in advance, there's one very uncomfortable question that I have to ask doing this at all, is because I have a YouTube channel. I love sharing my from the back. If this ends up not being accurate, crystal clear, I have had tremendous growth this week, and we're gonna get in. I'm just doing this video because, listen, if you got caught, right? Now, in the interest of being fair, though, I am going to propose a count at where the wound came from, and then we'll pause, look at who is the person responsible, and then there's some aftermath that is the most important part, in my opinion.
Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's Israeli security detail killed Charlie Kirk. That is the explosion from Charlie Kirk's lavalier lapel mic. Want to see it again? Bring it in closer. Remember when we told you that was absolutely an exit wound? Yeah, it is. Check the trajectory of the round that was deployed from that lavalier lapel mic. That went directly from Charlie Kirk's lapel. That went directly from underneath Charlie Kirk's white t-shirt up through his neck and created the exit wound that we told you was an exit wound immediately when we saw that exit wound. First we had exploding pagers, now we have exploding mics. Do you remember the vector analysis from John Bray? That proves that all of the activity came from the mic that Charlie Kirk was wearing. Remember the palm gun guy in the brown shirt, that shadowy looking guy with the sunglasses? Yeah, he pushes the detonator. Clear as day.
Look how crazy that looks now. Because remember we talked about the black down his shirt, right? It's a microphone, this little lapel mics. I have one too. When I do the SDNHT, SNT, right? When I do SNT, I have the little microphone attached. But there's ones that have a magnet. Mine has a clip. I just clip it on. Boop. Keep on smoking, right? There's ones that have a magnet. You just put the magnet on, boop, attaches. Easy day. So why you only seeing the back side? I think that's the magnet side. And the microphone side, the side with the actual mic that picks up sound, is on the inside. Right? You don't have, right. The microphone is actually on the inside. What we're looking at is the magnet on the outside. So that's why it looks like something that maybe an inch long, right? Maybe like a half inch wide, right? A little bit smaller than your average, index finger, the first piece of your index finger, right? Easy day. Makes so much it's so much sense. It's wild.
They can't see it well at first. The last one of these, crystal clear that his device moves. You'll see it right here.
That's the assassin.
I literally.
Yeah. Exactly. I was speechless when I saw this. Absolutely speechless when I saw this. And when I saw it, I just had to bring it to the village, and I had to bring it to the town square. Shout out to everybody who's still in here hanging out. I know, I get it, it's Friday. Do your thing, relax, shake off the week. This is wild. Family will release the autopsy report. There's a report out right now, but it's from the I believe it's from the surgeon. I don't believe we have an official autopsy report yet. Like we have seen. I know the report that came out, I believe it's from the surgeon. when he went to the hospital, not the coroner who did the coronary work. The body and you know the medical examiner work, stuff like that.
Cannot believe the collective power of the internet when everyone is focused in the one direction. I realize like there's a lot more to this, and I don't want to derail it. I'm sure you guys are captivated by this because there's a lot more coming, but I need to pause it right here and say the following. The internet has changed the world in ways that, I mean, now we kind of take for granted. It's incredible investigators, if they would have grown up in a and these exclusive things go out, and then all the rest of
The detonator, which perfectly aligns with the explosion that pushes that projectile through Charlie's right side of his neck and out the left side, creating the exit wound.
Not like this.
This is part 2. Stand the fuck by.
This is the part where I got sold. I'm just gonna tell you that right now, okay? So pay real close attention right here. This is where I got sold. Where I was like, oh my God, this is it.
It just looked like the
This I might have to
chaos
slow
that you
down.
expect after someone was publicly executed in broad daylight in front of 3,000 people. But in no way did that trigger man, that assassin in the brown shirt with the sunglasses act alone. We have video now that shows the handoff of this remote detonator.
And let me pause it right here just to say this. They're saying remote detonator. I'm saying not remote detonator. That's the thing that they're getting wrong right here, or whoever made this video is getting wrong. I think Stu Peters is reacting to a different video. What they were grabbing would be the device that either detonated or whatever caused the explosion or whatever that killed Charlie. That device needs to get recovered. That's the only physical evidence that would be able to prove this. And they take something off of him and they start changing hands, and it goes in one pocket, then another pocket, then another pocket, and then they just run off.
There was no shooter. Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk.
All right, now here is another video that captured the handoff, and it does an even better job. And this one is saying they think that the bullet hit the squib, and that's why they're pulling it off. But this is obviously before someone had connected that it could have been a remote device that went off. So
You wouldn't try to make a bullet hit a squib. If you already have a squib that's that small, the procedure would be to remote detonate it. Right? It's already a mic that's sending a signal out. It's already a mic. Why would you need a bullet to come in to then trigger the squib so the squib could do what it has to do? But that detonator thing got some legs.
watch this. Okay.
As he grabs the squib off of Charlie, puts it in his pocket. Watch closely. The one guy grabs the squib, gives it to the guy with the polo. He puts it in his pocket. Now, the other guy that I once said, press the remote for the squib, takes the remote, puts it in the other guy's pocket, and he takes off. So the first guy gets the squib that was on the neck. Watch closely. So, boom, shot. There's a guy at the blue, puts it in his pocket. Here's the guy at the remote, puts it in his pocket. And
that's fucking wild.
Now, while that is extraordinarily compelling evidence,
That shit looks crazy.
we have a lot of other questions to answer. How
That
would
shit
a
looks
state
wild.
actor have so successfully framed far-left radicals for this crime? Why is Tyler Robinson in prison? Why did the roommate say all of the things that he said? Where did those text messages come from? Where did the Discord confession?
Like we say, when it comes to the Tyler Robinson scenario, it's so many holes. We already talked about that. We talked about it from day one. We were asking questions in here on day one. From day one. We asked questions, we theorized, we came up with our own conclusions. We went left, went right. We agreed on some stuff, we didn't agree on some stuff. We all had our own thoughts about this shit. But that's the good thing about having commune, right? The good thing about having a village of people, right? You just hear different perspectives. When Kofor brought up the tumbler thing, then the wound made sense to me. Then the wound made sense to me. Made complete sense. This is wild. This is wild. But guess what? The internet will internet, man. But this is what happens when you just leave people with no answer that they're asking for. They're begging for answers. They want to be brief. We want to know what happened, right? ... At the end of the day, this is what happens. But because it's on the internet and we live in such a fast world, like I was talking about the other day, this is what came out anyway. It was too much funk around it in the first place, right? It was just way too much funk around it. From day one, it was just funky. So eventually this would have came out. Even if the feds had already made their statements, I believe this would have still came out. I believe these videos would have still came out. But either way, thank y'all for hanging out on this beautiful Friday night. Hope all is well. Hope all is swell. Hope you had a productive week. Hope y'all look forward to the weekend. Hope y'all got something planned. Get some R&R. Do something you like. Do something for yourself. Whatever you need to do to charge yourself up for the upcoming week, which we're not going to think about right now, right? We'll wait till Sunday night till we start stressing about Monday and the week's bullshit. But as of now, today's still Friday. We still got 2 full days. We could chill, relax, talk some shit, have some fun, spend time with our digital family and friends. You already know what time it is. We come up here to FDNHT. That's a love thing, 24/7, 365. Whether I'm dead or alive, it don't matter to me. Take it yourself so you can take it to people that surround you. Love yourself. You can love the people that surround you. Remember, this thing in life, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you are not running this marathon alone. Look to your left and look to your right. You got people with you. You heard? See y'all soon. Most likely tomorrow. You heard?